In this session, we're going to have a look at the backup capability within DocHaven. Now, by definition, because DocHaven is storing your projects, your documents, your files, whatever it is, up on the cloud, including your CRM haven and other bits and pieces, by definition they're backed up. They're there already. But you may still want to have a copy of them on your local computer for your own safekeeping, and even though it does keep by default the last 10 versions, you may want to ensure that you keep a rolling copy from time to time, just in case those last 10 versions aren't enough for whatever it is that you might be working on. Okay, now we've seen before that we can use the export function to remove the latest or all of the projects from the server, but by far the best way to do a normal recovery of all your files is to use the backup capability. So click on the file menu and choose backup, and when the window appears you'll see that we've got the option to choose a location and a time. And the way this window works is if this window is actually visible, doesn't have to be at the front, can be behind, but as long as the window is open, a backup will occur at a particular time. Now, before it can start, we have to choose a location of where the files are going to go. So I've created a folder on my desktop here called backup, and I'm going to choose that particular folder there. So now you can see here that I've set the folder where the backup files are going to go. You can set the particular time, so this is set to go at 1 o'clock in the morning. You can see how much space that it's likely to take up. So I don't have many projects, so it's only going to take up about 3.6 megabytes of space in that folder. And you've got two more things that may need a little bit of thought. By default I'd probably leave them as they are, but it's up to you if you want to change them. What latest only will do is only bring down one copy of each project that you've got on the server, and then it's only the latest version of that particular project. So if you have 10 versions of a project on a server, this will only bring down the latest one, the version number 10, if that's the latest on the server. It'll leave the rest up there, won't back them up. If you click on this option here to turn off the latest only, you'll see that the file size should increase because it's getting not only the latest version but all the versions before that. It'll bring them all down as well. So it's up to you whether you want just the latest version if you're happy with that, or all the previous versions that might be on the server as well. And this is an approximation, it's not necessarily exact. Okay, the next thing you need to be concerned about is down here. Do we want an incremental backup or a full backup? Now I'd suggest the majority of time you'll want to do an incremental backup. What that's going to do is the very first time that it runs a backup, it's going to copy all of those different projects and multiple versions if you want into this particular folder. It'll happen at 1 o'clock in the morning. If this window is kept open the whole time, then the next night at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's going to see that you only want to do an incremental backup. So it's going to compare all these 3.6 or 8 megabytes worth of files you've got on the server and see if you've already got that folder that particular project backed up in the backup folder. If it is already existing in the backup folder, it won't bother to back it up. If it has changed, if there are later versions on the server, on the cloud, that aren't in your backup folder, then it will copy those down. The advantage then is that while the first backup may take a long time to bring down many projects, the next ones are likely to only take a few minutes to back up and restore down to your computer those few changes that have happened. If instead, if you want to keep a continuous window of backups, what you can do is you can go full backup here. Now what that's going to do is in your backup folder, instead of putting all the files into the one location here, it's actually going to create a new folder every night with the date and time appended to it, and every one of your specified projects are going to be coming down into that folder. So 8 megabytes are going to be coming down the first night and 8 the next night, and if you've got more and more projects, more and more are coming down every night. Now that's not really practical if you do have gigabytes or many megabytes worth of data to come down, and it seems a bit pointless as well. I would say the best thing to do is probably to turn off the latest only so you get all versions, and keep it on incremental backup. Keep it pointed to the one folder where you back everything up, and everything should go there quickly. It'll keep all your latest versions. If you move to more than 10 versions of a particular project, all the ones before that are kept there, so you will actually get an increasing list of projects within your backup folder. And then from time to time, if you want to, you can go and back up your backup folder to a DVD or an external hard drive or something like that, just so you've got another copy of it elsewhere. So you'll have a copy on the cloud, you'll have a copy in the backup folder, and if you want, put that onto an external drive and you can keep a copy externally to your house or something like that. So that is how backup works. The way you get it started is by clicking on the Start button here. What that will now do is show you how many minutes between the time now and the time you've specified for the backup to start, and that will slowly count down. When it gets to the backup time, it'll automatically start. If you want to stop the backup, you click on Stop there and it'll automatically turn off that timed backup. If you want to perform a backups immediately, you can click on the Now button and it'll begin a backup, and there's no reason why you can't do both. So let me go Start, so that means we'll have a backup in 659 minutes, which will be at 1 o'clock in the morning. And if before then I wanted to have a backup, that's still going to run, but if I want to have a backup now, in the meantime, let me just do only the latest versions, just so it's a bit smaller. I'll go Now. And so what we can see up the top here is a list of incremental backups, and there they go. All the different files are coming down onto our computer, and we can see, here we go, the user, and here are all the different backups showing up there. Now if you happen to be a person who has access to other users folder, you may be a group manager, then it separates all the users folders into separate user IDs. And so that makes it a lot more capable for you to back up not just yours but a whole company's worth of data.
Finished incremental backup, latest only.
Okay, there's no error messages. As well as backing up your projects, it also gives you a list of the FTP messages, the messages that appeared in down the bottom here. So all of this information here is to sort of how things were going, and any error messages that appear, those are there. If there's any logs, error messages up here, if servers aren't available or you've got wrong passwords or something, those will appear. Let me just make this a little wider. So there's the error log, which in this case will be empty. There's the FTP log, which is what we just saw with all the transcript of what was happening through the progress. And down here we actually have a list of the CRM Haven. So CRM Haven is the clients that you have access to are automatically backed up as part of the backup process as well. So there we go. There's all the different fields and the contents as well for that particular client, all those clients that you have access to. Over time, more and more things will be added to this backup, so that essentially it will enable you to keep a full copy, a full record of all your Holy Mackerel software data that you've got up on the cloud, not just your DocHaven and your CRM Haven, but potentially other things as well. You'll be able to keep a full backup of everything off-site, off the cloud, that is, so you'll have that data permanently available to you. Okay, that's all. Hopefully the backup will be easy for you to use and functional for you, and you use it on a regular basis. Okay, thank you. Good.